Is the ban on porn websites doomed to fail? Is this silly or is this Sanskriti? Joining us on the newsroom showdown tonight is India's best read author Chetan Bhagat. With me also is Rahul Ishwar. He's an author and an activist. Now Rahul, given the fact that there are so many VPN servers, there are torrent websites that you can use, this ban can be circumvented in a million creative ways. What then is the purpose of trying to implement a ban which simply cannot be enforced, Rahul?
Rahulji, 3 points. One, it's a topic with a great nuance. It's very easy to play to the gallery and pretend holier than thou or liberal than thou. The second thing, there are empirical evidence connecting child pornography to the rape of a 5-year-old Gudiya, the 2011 case, as we all know. The third, regarding the enforcement and possibility, it may be tough, but within a few weeks we can reduce the element of pornography to even 75%. There are studies regarding this. Fourth, even though it may sound ridiculous, we should classify and differentiate between erotic and pornography, where pornography is more of child pornography, rape tubes, bestiality, which is freely circulating in internet and may spoil the psychological health of our youngsters. I agree, there are many nuances to this topic. We all want freedom. I am a liberal, but having said that,
you've set the stage for this debate. We'll take this one by one. One of the more important points you make, and I want Chetan Bhagat to respond to that, is that by putting this ban, you reduce the number of people surfing porn. Sure, there are torrent downloads, sure, there are VPN servers, but it is much tougher for the average user to be able to access porn, and therefore the number of people accessing porn, according to people like Rahul Ishwar who advocate this ban, they say that the number of people accessing porn websites will come down. Do you agree, Chetan?
I don't think they will, because but firstly, I mean, Rahul, let me tell you, it's not at all playing to the gallery at all. I think it is now talking that this ban is wrong, but most people kept quiet because we are such a hypocritical society when it comes to sex or any matters relating to sex, that no politician wants to be seen as saying, okay, you know, I oppose this ban. So Rahulji, it's the other Rahul I'm saying, it's quite difficult to come out there and say, because it comes across as you're advocating porn, which I am not advocating porn. I am not encouraging people to watch it. I am, however, a big advocate of freedom. We have worked very, very hard, our forefathers actually, not us, to win us this freedom, and I firmly believe that the state should have the view that people are smart enough to choose, and they can make the choice, whether it's fat, whether it's sugar, whether it's alcohol, and whether it's porn in excessive quantities, or in certain circumstances it can be extremely harmful, but we can't ban it. I can tell you fat led to an heart attack. It doesn't mean you will stop selling butter or pure ghee as you might like tomorrow. So there is no such thing. I mean, children take a bath, so somebody watches it and it becomes something for child pornography. Will you stop children?
No, you make a couple of very important points. You make a very important point, and let me put that point to Rahul Ishwar, because I want to cite, for example, the futility of prohibition in Gujarat. Now you say it's Mahatma Gandhi's land and therefore alcohol should not be allowed, which sounds great when you say it, but the reality is Gujarat today has the best home delivery service of alcohol, 24/7, at a markup of only 50 to 100 rupees of the market price. You get whatever brand of alcohol you want, you get it at any time of the day. Look at China. China hasn't been able to prevent people from accessing whatever website they do. How does this work? You try and implement this ban. You're saying the number of people watching porn will come down. Chetan Bhagat says, and I agree with him largely, that anyone who still wants to watch porn will find a way of circumventing any effort the government might make. Why waste our time trying to implement this ban then?
There are two things. One, drugs are bad for everyone we know, for our physical health. Does that mean in the name of freedom, a government can allow drugs and no laws on drugs? Of course, we can argue the same thing. You know, take the case of alcohol, we can also have the same argument with drugs. Drugs is my personal choice. Why not legalize it? prostitution is a personal choice, why not legalize it? So we have to consider the broader social health. And I totally agree. We are, like Chetan Bhagatji brilliantly said, we are a hypocritical society. We have double standard when it comes to sex. But remember, erotica is different. Pornography per se, perverted pornography is different. Look at the case of child pornography. For example, one of the most freely floating items in internet is rape tube. This is sexism. This is misogyny. This is commodification of women. This is treating women bad. This is insulting women. These things are also there. So it's a very nuanced argument saying that erotica, everyone in the world, 99% of people might have at least once surfed through erotica content, we all know. But 99% of the people will also have one opinion.
But there is a big difference between what you are saying.
Example,
you know, if this was a ban only on child pornography, then maybe your arguments would have held. In any case, child pornography is banned in India as it is elsewhere. No one's advocating child pornography, but if you go through the list of websites that's been banned, that's virtually all the popular websites. Chetan, it's not restricted to child pornography. So this argument falls flat when you say we're trying to prevent pedophilia because you ban all manner of websites. Chetan.
Rahulji, and I'm sorry to be a little technical on this, but erotica is when something is sexual but is aesthetically presented. Again, these are value judgment, who decides what's erotica, what's not. Pornography is not just child pornography. It can have consenting adults who engage in acts, whatever, to arouse people sexually. I mean, I'm being very specific. That may be people who are of legal consenting age. Child pornography is obviously not allowed. Children having sex is not allowed. Children are not supposed to be at the age of consent, so the question doesn't arise. When you talk of drugs, things that are extraordinarily harmful to society, for example, heroin, if you have 2 or 3 shots, a man can die, it can just totally destroy a family. Those need to be banned. But alcohol, millions of people have it and they run successful businesses. You have the president of the United States who has a beer with some other president of another country, and he runs one of the most powerful nations on earth. So, you know, it's not something you can put a blanket ban on substances like that. But yeah, certain things are extraordinarily harmful. Like for example, rape, you know, or misogyny, or any such films, or necrophilia, bestiality. Yes, you could make a definite case. But when you're talking of films that are meant to arouse, made by consenting adults, and people are watching them, I mean, is the state's job to make sure that people don't watch it? I'm not so sure. If you're saying child pornography or bestiality where it's animals or people or whatever, all that should be banned, yes, I am with you. But what about films where people are, you know, actors are consenting adults engaging in acts?
No, and what one does, Rahul, in the privacy of his bedroom is his own free will.
Who are you to decide?
And this was said as recently as August last year by the Supreme Court, the now Chief Justice H.L. Dattu, who said interim orders cannot be passed by this court because someone can tell the court, look, I'm an adult, how can you stop me from watching porn within the 4 walls of my room? It's a violation. And I'm quoting the Chief Justice of India's Supreme Court, H.L. Dattu. He says it's a violation of Article 21, that's the right to personal liberty of the Constitution. Now, if this is what the Chief Justice said just in August last year, what the government seems to have done is completely the opposite of what the Chief Justice's emphasis was.
We totally respect H.L. Dattuji. You know, he was the person who gave us the verdict on Sri M.F. Hussein's lack of liberty of demeaning paintings and or on insulting Indian cultural symbols. But remember that, you know, we totally respect H.L. Dattu's, or who's a great judge. But remember, the point is, the 4 walls of the room is a very strong point. We all concede we live in a liberal atmosphere. But having said that, that cannot be an excuse. That cannot be a leeway. That cannot be a window to perpetuate much more deeper perversions. The point is, we should have a gradation of porn. You know, even though that may sound not very appealing in the beginning, there are different levels of porn. There are different levels of.
The moment you change your argument, you're now saying, Rahul Ishwar, once again, let me pin you down over there. You're now saying that therefore this sweeping, all-encompassing ban of the government is wrong, and that yes, while of course bestiality, while of course child pornography, necrophilia, all of this should be banned, just regular pornography should not. So therefore, and to that extent, you're disagreeing with what the government has done. Is that correct, Rahul?
No, there is a slight problem in it. See, you know, a government or an agency or even a lawmaking system, for them, in media it is okay, but for them it is very tough to categorize porn into different sections, because that may invite ridicule, that may invite laughter.
No,
that
you
may
can't
invite
be on
wrath
both sides of
media.
the argument,
But the
Rahul.
point
You have
is,
to be
when
one
you
way or
say
the other.
pornography-
Either you agree with what the government ban is about,
No, no.
or you are saying that the government has gone overboard.
These are
You
shades
seem
of
to be
grey.
suggesting that the government has gone overboard. When I questioned you, you've come back to your original position. I'm a little confused now.
No, no, no. No, no, it's a bit more nuanced thing. We all want some kind of a regulation on porn. We can definitely disagree on what extent it should be. Like Chetan said, consenting adult, that's one thing. Necrophilia is another thing. Bestiality is another thing. But some kind of a regulation is needed, and a very blind liberal argument that no regulation should be there shouldn't be entertained. We all know there is a danger to it. Our children are at risk.
So,
Gudiya
Chetan, it
was
seems
raped
you've been
because
able
that
to win
particular
over
rapist saw a
Rahul
child
Ishwar
rape
to
video.
the extent that he now believes that porn, he's now saying that porn should be graded and only some forms of porn should be banned, and otherwise porn should be reasonably freely available. Do you think that's a sensible middle ground that can be arrived at, Chetan?
Yeah, I think all films should be graded. I think not just porn. I mean, all films should have a grading. All films should be, there has to be an advisory issued. But, you know, you cannot have a bureaucrat or a minister deciding that, hey, this, I am going to ban this, all things that I feel are in this category. If at all, we need to have broader discussions in society on what those regulation is. That's not some MP who's going to decide, or an IAS officer who's going to decide. That's like something sociologists, psychologists, people who look after children, children counselors, parent counselors, they should come up with the rating and do it. And I think there is no debate there. But the question that you will not allow access to a site which has legitimate, you know, which doesn't have that kind of a content you're most concerned about is anti-freedom. I don't think that's the India we want to build in the future. Yes, I'm not advocating porn. I'm saying go do your work, do more productive things in life than watch porn. But I'm nobody to say that if I will ban it. I mean, you know, how can you ban something like just on a whim?
Those are very important words. China spends billions of dollars every year trying to create this great firewall of China. It's the most porous wall, even more porous than the real Great Wall of China, because it simply doesn't work. I was in China a few months ago. Anyone who wanted to access any website had found a way to do it. All you're going to do is ensure that VPN servers,
I'll tell you of a time.
Yeah, VPN servers and those who run them will be laughing all their way to the bank. Chetan Bhagat, final words.
Rahul, forget all this. Rahul and I come from the same school, Army Public School. I remember when we were growing up, such was the curiosity for pornography. People used to hire those VHS tapes and those from video libraries, totally unregulated, totally being given to kids they should not be given to, and people still used to watch. There was no internet, there was nothing. So it's not something, on every street corner people will start selling memory cards full of porn. And if that's what the government wants, then they should say so, that we want to create an illegal industry so that the cops can get a few more bribes and we have some more vested interests who can come. But otherwise, just let things be. It's such a politically no gain in this. I mean, why the government needs, everybody's talking about what should be banned next. The government is taking a big hit on this image because of it.
You're making an important point that the government has more pressing matters to deal with. Let people's private lives be. Chetan Bhagat, Rahul Ishwar, for joining us on the Newsroom Showdown. Thank you very much. As always, we don't take sides on the Newsroom. You've heard Rahul Ishwar argue his point of view. You heard Chetan Bhagat. You decide where you stand. Thank you very much. Let's now get you all the other news headlines that have made it to the national headlines tonight. Arvind Kejriwal-led Delhi government has said it has spent 22.33 crore rupees on the recent ad and publicity campaign. This was in response to a PIL filed by Congress leader Ajay Makhan. AAP's ad campaign had targeted the Prime Minister and ran for 30 days. The Supreme Court has upheld the 10-year jail term for former Haryana Chief Minister O.P. Chautala in the teacher recruitment scam case. A Supreme Court bench also dismissed the plea of his son Ajay Chautala against the conviction by the Delhi High Court. DMK Chief M. Karunanidhi has announced demonstrations across Tamil Nadu on the 10th of August demanding prohibition. His son and treasurer of the party, M.K. Stalin, has promised that distilleries owned by DMK functionaries will be shut if the party comes to power. Superstar Shah Rukh Khan has thanked the Mumbai Cricket Association for its graciousness in lifting the 3-year-old ban that prohibited SRK from entering the Wankhede Stadium. Shah Rukh took to Twitter to express his gratitude. A week since former President APJ Abdul Kalam passed away in Shillong, the post office in his hometown of Rameshwaram has received more than 2,000 letters. The condolence messages include poetry, inspiring phrases from his books. Fresh floods have killed 80 people and impacted more than 80 lakh people across the country. The worst hit state today is West Bengal, where the situation has turned grim after water was released from the barrages. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has been camping herself, trying to oversee the rescue efforts. The centre is offering full support. Our colleagues from Kolkata filed this report.
Rains and floods bringing chaos to several Indian states, killing over 150 people, thousands rendered homeless. Authorities struggling with relief and rescue efforts. In West Bengal, the flood situation remains grim in the aftermath of Cyclone Komen, affecting over 37 lakh people in 14 districts, leaving a trail of nearly 70 deaths.
We are here in Bardhaman district and we'd like to show you, we were on our way to Bhatar subdivision. As you can see, one of the bridges, one of the pools over one of the local rivers here have completely, given up, and the alternate route that had been opened a few months back, that has also been completely submerged.
Over 2 lakh cusac of water released from the Damodar Valley Dam and Durgapur barrage left even high-lying areas flooded. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is monitoring the flood situation and has urged people to move to safer areas.
The Air Force and our NDRF team, everybody is working with the state government, and it's a big problem for the local people. We are monitoring, the Home Ministry is monitoring the entire operation here.
We are coming to you from Bardhaman district, in which several of its blocks, around 27 blocks and 150 gram panchayats have been completely inundated, and this has happened because the Damodar Valley Corporation has released about 1,25,000 cusacs of water.
With respite in rains, floodwater is slowly receding in neighbouring Odisha, but 5 lakh people still remain affected. In Manipur, over 1 lakh people are badly hit by floods. Many parts of Thobal and Chandel district are still cut off, making it difficult for NDRF and army teams to reach thousands of stranded survivors. With Manogya Loiwal and Indrajit Kundu, Bureau Report, India Today.
The newsroom is slipping into a quick break. When we come back, we'll go across live.